Now, after Monday Night Football and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, a local daycare faces a state investigation. What records show about past violations and current concerns.
Animal shelter statistics show a dramatic turnaround as the person behind the numbers steps down.
Plus, farm bankruptcies climbed 55%. Now there's a massive bailout, but who's really to blame?
We're looking at some cold weather for tonight. Temperatures dropping down into the mid-30s, courtesy of all that cool, dry air that rolled in. We'll have your forecast coming up in a moment.
And Shawna looks to win another state championship versus the Mount Enterprise Wildcats. We'll preview this matchup later on in sport.
You're watching 25 News now after Monday Night Football. Good evening. Thanks for staying up late with us. I'm Shawna Currie.
And I'm Don Brubaker.
The state's child care investigations team is looking into Faith Family Church's Cub Care Early Learning Center in Victoria, working with regulators to make sure children there are safe. The state is not sharing specific details about their investigation, saying it's confidential. But the day after the latest reported incident, the state website shows 8 violations at the center, mostly about staffing and paperwork. Records also show issues last year, including the use of corporal punishment and a caregiver accused of aggressively grabbing children by the arm. The state says those issues were addressed. We reached out to Pastor Matt Mashburn with Faith Family Church. He declined to comment, citing the ongoing investigation.
The Victoria ISD Board of Trustees extended Superintendent Sheila Collazo's contract. Collazo wrapped up her first year in the district on December 2nd. Her contract is now extended through November 2028. It comes with a pay bump around 5%. She'll now make $262,000 a year. And there's a new performance incentive plan. Collazo can earn an extra $5,000 for each of 5 district and student achievement goals, if met every year, with payouts coming each November. Some changes are coming to leadership at Victoria County Animal Services. Mark Sloat is stepping down as director, with his last day set for this Friday, December 12th. Supervisor Joe Hernandez, who's been with the department since 2019, will take over as interim director. Hernandez will hold the interim position until a new director is named. Hernandez says the plans to keep things moving forward with the same plan Sloat had in place.
He's taught us a lot of new ways how to handle any animal conditions. There's a lot that I learned from him.
Sloan was director of animal services in Victoria County for 3 years. And about a week before Sloat's last day, he put out a report on how Victoria County Animal Services was doing with intake and call responses.
25 News Now reporter Trenton Whiting is here to break down those numbers and show how the department has changed during Sloat's time as director. Trenton.
Well, Shawna, Dawn, that plan that was referenced showed some key statistics that have changed since 2015, and Sloat reported that on social media. The number of dogs they've had to take in has dropped significantly. You could see the trend from 2015 falling from around that 1,600 that year to just over 1,000 in 2024. And as of December 4th this year, VCAS has picked up just under 900 dogs. Higher numbers of adoptions and lower euthanasia numbers also speak to better shelter management. From 894 euthanized dogs in 2015 to just under 300 this year, dropped all the way down to 139 dogs this year. Adoptions are also trending upwards from 117 in 2015 up to over 340 in 2024. And as of December 4th, 365 dogs have been adopted, with the rest of December to go. Now, Sloat pointed to the improved containment for pets, education for the community and pet owners, and a policy to return dogs to their owners when found out in the field. Adoptions also play a big role, and they're saying they're on track for one of the biggest adoption years in the department's history. Shawna, Dawn, back to you.
The food bank of the Golden Crescent is doubling down on feeding the community this holiday season.
And 25 News Now reporter Ray Mosley spoke with the president of the food bank and explains how they're making this possible.
A local business has partnered with the food bank of the Golden Crescent to provide more meals for the community. With that donation, a single dollar can now provide 16 meals through the food bank.
It's critical. It's critical, and we are grateful for their partnership, their continued partnership.
Cato says she understands that food is a necessity, and with food insecurity not going away, This helps their mission to serve and feed the Crossroads area.
The best part of my job is the fact that when donations come in, whether it's through the mail or however, I am lucky enough and blessed enough that I get to thank these individual donors personally, and that means a lot to me. It's a very rewarding and satisfying part of my job.
The food bank's donation will continue through the end of this year. Ray Mosley, KAVU TV, 25 News Now.
DeWitt County is making some aerial fireworks off limits this season because of dry conditions. The Commissioner's Court approved an order banning skyrockets with sticks and missiles with fins in all unincorporated areas of the county, saying the risk of wildfire is too high right now. This does not apply to your typical small fireworks or to the larger professional grade ones used for big displays. But if you ignite any of the restricted types, you could face a Class C misdemeanor. And we've kind of been going back and forth. We have gotten some rain, but then we're drying out a little bit. Then we get a little bit more rain. So we're right on that kind of borderline.
You know, this when the game started, it was sunny. I don't want to say this game was long, but it seemed like it.
Yeah. What week did this start? I mean, we're still here, folks. We're still here. We watched the game. I'm sure you watch it too. I was going to say the other problem is now that we're going into winter, a lot of the grasses are drying out, and that's another complication for the fire danger. So fireworks, always fun, but they have their limitations. All right, we are looking for a rather cold night. Temperatures tonight will get down to about 37 in the city, so bundle up in the morning, but you'll layer it off because it's going to be nice and warm and sunny in the afternoon. We'll talk more about that coming up in a moment.
Thank you, Mac. President Trump today announced a $12 billion farm aid package aimed at helping crop farmers through one-time payments starting early next year.
And while the aid is certainly needed by America's farming community, Michael Yoshida reports the debate over what's causing the need is still being argued.
A $12 billion aid package to U.S. crop farmers available by February 28, 2026 is good news for struggling farmers. But some don't think it will solve the current crisis they face.
We're in trouble here, and you know, my farm is no exception. During that whole government shutdown and during the issues with the tariffs and China not buying soybeans from the United States, we need the aid now.
Most of the money, $11 billion, will be directed toward crop farmers through one-time payments under the Farmer Bridge Assistance Program. The rest will go to farmers whose crops fall outside the umbrella of the assistance program. President Donald Trump and his administration have blamed Biden's administration policies for causing farmers to need assistance.
In the last year, Biden bankruptcies rose by 55%, having to do with farms. So farm bankruptcies under Joe Biden went up 55%. That's not good. But now we're once again in a position where a president is able to put farmers first, but unfortunately I'm the only president that does that.
Many U.S. farmers have been blaming Trump's tariffs for their struggle to make a profit, including soybean farmers who felt the squeeze during a months-long effective embargo by China, once the largest buyer of their crops. Trump says tariffs are actually the reason that aid is available to them, not the reason that it's needed.
This money would not be possible without tariffs. The tariffs are taking in, hundreds of billions of dollars, and we're giving some up to the farmers. Without it, we wouldn't be able to help you.
In Washington, Michael Yoshida.
And President Trump is threatening to slap higher tariffs on Mexico, saying the country is not treating American farmers fairly. This dispute centers on water rights. Trump claims Mexico is violating a 1944 treaty that outlines how water from the Colorado, Tijuana, and Rio Grande rivers is shared. In a social media post, he accused Mexico of under-delivering water and warned he may add a 5% tariff. He says the shortage is hurting Texas farmers already dealing with drought. Mexico is the U.S.'s largest trading partner. While the current tariff rate is 25%, most goods are exempt under the USMCA trade deal.
If you see news happening, call our newsroom at 361-576-0026 or send us an email at staff@crossroadstoday.com.
And remember to subscribe to our Crossroads Today YouTube channel. Also hit the like button and click the notification bell. Stay with us. Coming up on 25 News Now, flu cases climb sharply in Texas and surrounding states, plus the surprising good news doctors are sharing.
Also ahead, you will hear expert tips from a local grower of the favorite Christmas flower.
It's the season, and we're not talking about that season. We're talking about cold and flu season. In our region, the numbers are climbing. The latest CDC flu view shows a sharp jump across Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, and New Mexico. Clinics are reporting more people coming in with high fevers, body aches, and that worn down flu feeling. Doctors say the real numbers may be higher since many folks are not getting tested. Most cases right now are type A, including a subvariant not directly targeted by this year's vaccine. The good news, doctors say people are not getting as sick as in previous years. If you're high risk, health experts still recommend masking in crowded places during the holiday rush.
Wonder if you all knew this, but skin is the largest organ in the body. But this time of year, it can wreak havoc on your skin with the dipping temperatures.
Mandy Gaither talks to a dermatologist about how to protect your skin this winter.
It's the season of dry skin, and if you're feeling the itch, you're not alone.
The cold temperatures outside, the high heat and the low humidity, all of those factors play a role into making our skin more dry and more sensitive.
Dr. Susan Masick with the Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center says there are ways to protect your skin and provide some relief. She says it starts with hydration.
You want to moisturize, moisturize, moisturize. You can never moisturize enough.
Masick says most products out there are effective. Emollients and ointments like petroleum jelly can help seal moisture into the skin. Creams that have more oil than water can replenish skin to keep it healthy.
Lotions tend to have more water, and so they are able to glide on the skin more easily than creams, but creams and ointments are more moisturizing.
And when outdoors, she says to cover up to make sure your skin isn't exposed to the elements. Inside, consider using a humidifier and avoid taking long, hot showers. Keep it lukewarm and shorter. She says to also pay attention to what you're washing with.
And make sure we're using mild soaps, gentle cleansers, avoid the really harsh astringents, toners, perfumes, scented types of cleansers that can actually help irritate the skin.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Dr. Masick says it's a good idea to adjust your skincare regimen this time of year, adding additional moisturizer, but continuing to use sunscreen daily, even in the winter.
New dietary guidelines for Americans are set to be released in early January. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Wallen says the update will help shape school lunches and medical nutrition advice. Sources say the new guidelines are expected to take a closer look at saturated fats and, for the first time, ultra-processed foods. The current guidelines advise keeping saturated fat under 10% of your daily calories and limiting alcohol to 1 drink a day for women and 2 for men, or not drinking at all.
Jimmy Kimmel has renewed his contract with Disney-owned ABC to keep hosting Jimmy Kimmel Live. A source says he has signed a 1-year extension, which carries the late-night show through May 2027. Earlier this year, Kimmel found himself in the middle of the country's political divide when ABC executives briefly pulled the show over his monologue comments about Charlie Kirk's suspected killer. Hollywood quickly backed Kimmel, launching a boycott of Disney, and the show was put back on the air.
To get more news, weather, and sports, come to our website, crossroadstoday.com.
Well, poinsettias, such as the ones you see here all around us, they actually date back to the Aztecs with roots in Old Mexico.
Veteran journalist Bill Clough reports on one local business that grows them every year. It's part of a $250 nationwide, $250 million nationwide business.
It just isn't the holidays without poinsettias. These are fake. These aren't. 2,365 of them. And this lady is in charge of their care and feeding.
I'm Monica Pilot. I'm the owner of Midcoast Floral and Landscaping here in Inez, Texas. The nursery was growing poinsettias for years and years before I took over. This is one of the crops that I have continued on with when I took over 10 years ago. I have trialed 20 or 30 different varieties in the last 10 years, trying to find new varieties to provide an even better quality.
These are about ready to sell, but the process begins in August.
I get in 3,400 cuttings that we plant between about 3,000 pots of poinsettias a season. I don't get a lot of growth or color development until we actually truly start getting into our fall temperatures. Our nighttime temperatures will start coming down, and we'll just have a little bit overall cooler temperature in the greenhouse.
And once they're home?
To keep your poinsettia looking fresh throughout the holiday season, you want to get it home. When you are getting it to your vehicle even, you want to make sure that it's protected from the outside wind. If it's colder than 50 degrees outside, you want to protect it from those cooler temperatures. When you get it home indoors, select a bright indirect light. If they have too much darkness, that can encourage leaf drop a little sooner than you would like. And you also want to keep it ideally between 65 and 75 degrees.
The holiday popularity of poinsettias is thanks to one man, Joel Roberts Poinsett, the first U.S. ambassador to Mexico. He brought it back. A botanist displayed it at a flower show in 1829, and the tradition was established. 3 years ago, Congress declared December 12th National Poinsett Day, which means never underestimate the flower of diplomacy.
Certainly is the holiday when you see that flower, right? Well, we're already looking at 39 degrees right about now. We're probably going to drop another 3-4 degrees before we bottom out. So it's going to be a chilly morning tomorrow when you get out of the door in the early part of the day. But you'll layer it off because, while yes, today we were at 62 as a high, tomorrow we're looking for about 70. So it's going to be warming up eventually later this week. We'll talk more about it coming up after this. It'll be one of those days tomorrow like you bundle up as you walk out, and by 10 o'clock you take off one layer, and by noon you take off the other layer because it's going to be a chilly morning, but then the daytime will get up very comfortable in the 70s. We of course have high pressure now over us. That north wind that came in yesterday is now a northeast wind, and eventually by the time we get to Thursday or Friday, it'll be a southeast wind bringing back the warm air to our region. I want you to see the big picture across the entire country. These are going to be the lows tomorrow morning, right about there, 6 a.m. So these temperatures are not particularly cold for the western states for this time of year. You notice how Texas is clear and cold in the 30s, and even in the 30s up here. But the real bitter stuff is New England and upper, well, that's International Falls, Minnesota. I've never been there, but it's really cold there. It's what I see and what I hear every year. But tomorrow, you can see how there is a big warming trend in the central part of the country and all the way to the western states. This is the typical La Nina pattern. What is La Nina? La Nina is a cold Pacific Ocean, okay, off the coast of Mexico. It creates a high pressure dome, and that dome deflects all of the storms. So the storms are having to go over the Pacific into Canada and then down like this. Well, let me show you exactly what we're going to be looking at for the next couple of days. Notice up here, these are all the winter weather advisories and watches all the way across the northern tier of the states. Now, in this red here, they're likely to get 60 to 70 mile an hour wind gusts. Well, yes, on this very day, back in 2017, we had the big snow. Okay, one of the big snows. I wanted you to see this. Can we introduce this young lady here? Yes. Give me her name.
She looks a little different now.
Well, okay.
Caitlin.
Caitlin was very young back then. Now she's a big girl, so things happen. But look at this. I saw a photo in the Advocate that in 1895 we did have a foot of snow. 2004 we had a foot of snow. 2017 was the last time we had 2 inches, and then of course in '89, I remember that one, we got the 2 inches of snow. So yes, we have had snow in Victoria. Today we didn't. Today we didn't. Look at where the storms are all going to be rolling, right along that line, right along that pressure, because it has to ride these lines. That's basically the railroad tracks for the storms that are going to be rolling through. Did you see anything down here? No, we're going to be completely out of any kind of weather pattern until about the weekend, when all we get is the return of the Gulf air, and that's going to give us maybe a sprinkle or two as we get to the weekend. So no major problems this week. If you're working outdoors, you've got it fairly comfortable. And if you're still putting up Christmas decorations, well, you're going to have nice weather for that too. The sunny skies tomorrow, getting up to 66 after a 44 low in Port Lavaca. Cuero, you'll be down into the mid 30s by morning, and then you'll get up to about 69. So you can see how the temperatures are going to warm up very nicely once the sun comes up. 7-day forecast, well, nice for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And even Friday is not bad, but by Friday, look at that, we'll be up into the upper 70s. The southeast wind kicks in, and that'll give us an overcast, kind of dreary, damp weather pattern for the weekend. Now, I wouldn't say this is heavy rain. I call it more of a sprinkles to a mist. So let's just call it damp and mild as we get to the weekend. But in terms of significant rainfall, not happening in the next 7 days. That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we do have a QR code. We'd love for you to scan that, put Crossroads a day on your phone. We'll toss it over to Maxwell, who's doing basketball.
Yeah, Mac, we're having some basketball again with the cooler temperatures. You know what that means. Again, we're getting into the winter sports seasons, and we had a high school basketball game tonight between St. Joe and Bloomington. We'll give you all tonight's game highlights and some stats coming up next in sports. Shiner Comanches took care of business last Friday night, beating the Junction Eagles 22-6 in the regional final. And the Comanches now turn their attention to undefeated Mount Enterprise Wildcats, who beat the Bremen Tigers 64-56 with their star running back in Keegan Ash going for 521 yards on the ground. And then he had 6 touchdowns in that victory there against Bremen. And they also had 2 receiving touchdowns in that game. So probably thinking for Shiner, they probably have to find a way to key him in that matchup. And so earlier tonight, we caught up with the Comanches head coach and Daniel Brubaker about what is their game plan to slow down their top player in Keegan Ash and how this team is ready for Friday night.
But for us defensively, it's going to be key of trying to get guys to the football. You know, he's hard to tackle one-on-one. So our goal, going into this week and with today's practice was to get as many people flying to the ball as possible. Obviously, the guys know how hard it is to get to this point in the year. I think, what is there, 4 teams left in our division, and it takes a lot of grind and a lot of hard work. And the thing that we've seen with this group is they love football. They come out here and they don't see practice as work. They like practicing what they consider still playing football, even though we're practicing, and that's what's made this group special so far. They understand that.
Now, Brubaker and the Comanches hope to make another deep run there to the state championship there if they can beat Mount Enterprise. Now, staying in the football area, both the Goliad Tigers, they revealed their 2025 District 15 3A All-District Awards. Some of the top honors went to District MVP Lamont Franklin, Offensive Player of the Year in Donovan Perry, Defensive Player of the Year in Tyler Flores, and then also Coach of the Year going to Coach Kevin Salazar. And then first team honors went to Cord Zamzow, guard Jaden Valdez, and then tackle Keandre Gardner. So if you want to see the full list, just go to crossroadstoday.com/sports. Now, Victoria West also revealed their awards there as well for this past season for the football team. And shout out there to all the guys for second team honors, going to Ethan Guerra, Dylan Trank, Zachary Merritt, and then Jared Swanson and Nolan Boyce. So some of the top names there for Victoria West, just like Goliad. You can check out the full list there on our website. Now, we also had high school basketball, where some news where last week Tidehaven women's basketball coach Michelle Wagner recorded her 150th career win there as a head coach there, and again helped the Tigerettes there last year reach the regional finals where they lost to the Yurditon Saguas 42-36. Now they look to make a deeper run there to state here this year. They are currently ranked right now at number 3 in the Texas Girls Coaches Association for this week, so we'll see if it's going to keep it going for the Tigerettes. And they also face Victoria West there at West High School Gym. That'll be tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. And finally, St. Joseph Flyers men's basketball team battled the Bloomington Bobcats there tonight at the Flyer Dome, and they took care of business, winning 67-38. And Charlie Stefka had 15 points, and Nick Bludeau had 14 points there in the victory. So the Flyers, they're going to be actually facing a district opponent at home, San Antonio Christian, this Friday night, while Bloomington is going to be on the road at Port Lavaca to face Calhoun. That game will start at 6 p.m. And that's going to do it here in sports. Don, Shawna, back to you.
Max, thank you, and stay with us. Coming up on 25 News now. After overtime in the NFL, we'll take a last look at your weather. Plus, our troops overseas are getting gifts for Christmas that may be way too big for their foot lockers.
tonight, I have news. I have one more bit of entertainment news to share, and that is that I've decided to extend my contract here at ABC for another year.
A New York City nursery is teaming up with a shipping company to send Christmas trees to troops overseas. It's a tradition that is now 22 years strong. Started with one mom wanting to send her son a tree in Iraq. Dee's Nursery in Oceanside and DHL now run Operation Holiday Cheer, shipping 500 donated trees each year, plus ornaments and thousands of handwritten notes from the community. The trees are headed to Bahrain this week, bringing service members a small piece of home during the holidays. So that's nice that they're able to send the trees over to them, in addition to the letters.
You mentioned our snow here in 2004.
Yes.
That was Christmas Eve into Christmas Day.
Wow. That was incredible.
The Christmas miracle.
Yes.
And that was the first time it had snowed in Victoria on Christmas Day since 1918.
Exactly. I mean, think about that.
That's crazy.
We were also
and it wasn't a frosting. It was a foot of snow.
Real snow.
Yes.
How about that?
Yes.
Wow. I guess my list isn't complete over here.
Just put an asterisk.
It was a bi-year or something like that. So yeah, who knows? Maybe by January we'll get something interesting. But in terms of any snow this week, no kids, not a chance. It's just another week for Dad to put up the Christmas decorations and not have to deal with any kind of snow. We're looking at dry weather through Friday, then some cloudy, kind of damp weather over the weekend. I'll call it mostly cloudy and a little drizzle here and there, but I wouldn't call it anything that is significant that would get us out of the drought. So otherwise, tomorrow, beautiful day, chilly in the morning and sunny by afternoon.
Mac, thank you. Finally tonight, a holiday tradition in North Texas drew a big crowd to the skating rink. Santa Claus stopped by to visit more than 150 children from Dallas and Fort Worth who are deaf or hard of hearing, and he signed with them as they shared their Christmas wishes. Tarrant County College organized the event with volunteers from the school's sign language program, helping to make the day unforgettable for the children and their families. Yeah, they're enjoying that.
Time of year. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm sure they are so thrilled to see Santa being able to, to communicate with them. So
Absolutely,
cool.
absolutely.
Well, thanks for joining us.
Jimmy Kimmel Live starts now.